5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Years ago, my son had this video game, and I'm talking, oh gosh, maybe 20 years ago. He had this video game, and the whole game was about missiles being launched from one country to the next, and it's always been a nightmare of all of ours. I think there was a movie made back around that same time, I think, where it showed some kids hacking into the different missiles launching systems of the world and causing a false alarm, that kind of a thing. I think it was a comedy, but it's not funny to think.
War Games, it was called.
War Games, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have on the phone Mary Landesman, and she's the senior data scientist from Norse Corporation. And if you go to the website map.norsecorp.com, you will see some things that look like those video games from those years ago. And so we're going to find out what this is and how we need to use this information. Maybe we need to move. I'm not so sure if Florida could be a target or not. Mary Landesman, good morning, Mary. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. I'm great. How are you?
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina. How's the weather there today?
Very rainy.
Pretty rainy. You're about to get some cool temperatures, I think. But anyway,
oh really?
This is kind of way out of left field. But this is the time of year where psychics come out of the woodwork. Do you remember a guy named Edgar Casey by chance?
Yes.
And he had made predictions that the safest place to be in the United States during a warfare would be somewhere up where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Is that where you live there?
Interesting.
Is that why you live there?
Precisely. That's exactly the reason. Yes, that's exactly why. Subliminally, I was drawn to this area because I want to be safe from war.
There are so many things to be afraid of when the countries decide to shoot things at one another. So tell me about this. Tell me about the global perspective. What is this?
So I think one of the things that we have to be, really cognizant of is that there's a vast difference between volume and who the actual source and target may be. So security companies, very, very frequently talk about the high volume of cyber attacks that come from China, but they don't take the population size into consideration. I like to call this the China syndrome. But China is 19% of the world's population. So put that another way, and it's nearly 1/5 of all persons living on Earth happen to live in China. And so cyber events are generally, generated by individuals, right, by people. And so wherever the largest population is, the chance is that that's going to be the highest source of those events, not because necessarily anything specific to China, but just based on the sheer number of people.
And this is all about cyber attacks, right? Not actual missiles, or am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. It's cyber attacks, not missiles.
Okay. So, well, the one thing I've always wondered about, and this might be because I'm old, I've always wondered why did we do this to ourselves, where we become vulnerable by making everything dependent on the internet? Wouldn't it have been smarter to keep some of it the old-fashioned way? Just here's a wire and here's a power supply.
There's been a lot of philosophical debate about that over the years, and I would say that the security community is pretty evenly divided on both sides of that fence. Some believe that certain things, for example, healthcare records, should not have been digitalized and should not have been made available online. Some people feel the same way about banking. There have been calls over the years to have sort of a private internet that's closed to the general population. I don't think that's really a question that has an answer. It has a lot of opinions around, but not really a solid answer. And it's the ease of use, the ease of reach, the market opportunity.
So when we look at the figures that you have on your website regarding the likelihood of being targeted, let's look at it for that one first. the United States is rather large. Would they attack the whole country, or would they attack New York, or is it broken down into the different parts of the country?
Well, this is sort of like the China syndrome. So the United States controls, we own 44% of the world's allocation of IP addresses. And an IP address, Internet Protocol address, it's kind of like a phone number, right? It's the sequence of digits that are assigned to a particular entity, so that if you want to send something from point A to point B, you send it from your IP address to their IP address, right? So we own 44% of those. So we're going to see a much higher volume of targeting of events just based on that sheer number of IP address space that we own. And when we correct for that, when we correct for things like population, we correct for things like IP allocation, we actually see a phenomenon that is very closely tied to, or appears to be very closely tied to, the country's GDP. So when we adjust and we find that Liechtenstein, which is a tiny little country, actually is the most targeted. It is 2,076% more targeted than it should be given its population size.
Why?
But it has the world's largest, highest per capita GDP, has an extremely strong, and the only time we see an exception to that is when we start looking at a country like Bulgaria or Iceland, both of which are, once you adjust again for population and IP allocations, which are very high as sources of attacks, and both appear as targets of attack. And in fact, if we actually look at the specific attacks that are happening, Iceland is attacking Iceland and Bulgaria is attacking Bulgaria. So it's
really?
When we do see it, yeah. So it's when we see other countries, targeting a different country other than themselves, that we see this, we see things like Liechtenstein, bubble to the top. Another good example of that is, we see, Saudi Arabia and United, Arab Emiratis, which is, a wealthier country, Singapore, which has a thriving economy.
When I went to the website map.norsecorp.com, and for those who want to look at it, it's the word map.norsecorp.com. I'm looking at this map, and it's showing me like attacks happening. Is this stuff happening right now? Am I looking at a live thing?
Yes, it is. Well, there's obviously a slight delay that gets introduced, but yes, this is live attack data.
Okay, so it looks. Am I understanding this right? It looks like the west coast of the United States is attacking the east coast of the United States. Or do I have it backwards?
Actually, that's China that's attacking the west coast of the United States. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
But the lines don't appear that way. There's like a big white area right over most of the west coast, and then there's like a V shape coming out of the west coast, like maybe the Los Angeles area, and then fanning out across. Looks like from Richmond up to New York City. Looks like.
Yeah. So where you see the fan out is that's events that are coming out of the West Coast. But if you look at the fan in that's coming in from China. And I think I can't see your monitor, so I don't know what's. But I have it up on mine.
Maybe I have a slow computer. It could be a slow thing.
Since these attacks can be seen readily in things, how come and countries can attack countries? How come we're having such a problem targeting in on ISIS and blowing them out of the water?
Yeah.
Well, so another issue that comes up when you start talking about, a country of origin or an IP address is that anybody can hide behind an IP address. So, I mentioned earlier that the United States, owns 44% of the world's IP address allocation. It doesn't prevent somebody from staying from hosting something in the United States, so that it now has an IP address that's in the United States. Okay, so there's no. So when you start looking for the bad guys, you can't base it just on the visuals of this map and one IP address to another, and that's where our deep inspecting, for lack of a better words, our deep inspecting analysts that are at Norse, that's where they come into play. There's a lot of merging together of the data around cyber events and human intelligence and political understanding and it's very investigative.
Okay. I think my screen's working better now. I see green lines coming across the ocean and like bombs is what they look like. Like,
yeah, they twinkle.
Nothing's hitting nothing is hitting Florida though. So
that's good.
So I guess for the listeners, you got to look at this map. This map will explain everything we're talking about, right?
It reminds me of War Games, right? That movie.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Matthew Broderick. Yeah.
But this stuff is happening right now. So we have. What are they doing? I mean, are these people taking money out of other people's bank accounts? What are they doing?
No. So a lot of this is Port 123. So again, I have not looked into it, but that's it's likely some types of brute force login attempts that are happening en masse. So there are attempts to compromise. Now, just because there's an attempt to compromise doesn't mean that the compromise is successful. But these are attempts being lobbed into the United States, hitting one of our data centers. And so it's likely that there is some sort of a mass attempt going on. And again, this is where that 44% IP address allocation comes into play. Trying to brute force, and that means trying to force their way in to a system.
Let me ask you if we can take a little break right now, and if you'll just hang on, because this is fascinating to me. It's slowly starting to sink in, but I'm still in the dark a little bit about what this is about. For the listeners, I know some of you are way more tech savvy than I am. Go on your computer.
This is cool.
Go to the website map.norsecorp.com, NORSECORP.com. So map.norsecorp.com, and you'll see exactly what we're looking at. And then if you have any questions, Mary's here to answer the questions.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Because I don't even know exactly what to ask other than, am I okay?
Yeah, and let me correct that. So I looked at that and I saw 23, and I was saying it's probably a brute force attack. Actually, that's 123, and it's probably there's things called recursive style attacks, and basically they amplify an attack by spoofing a source address and forcing a response back to this spoofed address, this fake address. They're very common, and they're designed to cripple communication. So I think this is what we're seeing here is a DDoS using the network time protocol.
Now, if there was ever a real war going on, these lines would be multiplied by hundreds or thousands, right? We would see a lot more going on, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that and we've seen this. We've actually seen this in countries in the Middle East and in Europe, where prior to a conflict, there's a mass denial of service that's performed to kind of cripple communications. South Korea actually went through something similar with their banking system a few years back, where in concert all the banks were targeted by a denial of service attack at the same time that this malware detonated its payload. So it completely crippled so it was called Dark Soul.
Yes.
And it's believed that the intent was to exfiltrate, to wire out funds without notice and without the banks being able to respond to it.
Wow. All right, I just saw Miami attack Buffalo. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not making it up. I did, but I don't understand what I'm looking at. Okay, all right. So let me take a little break. We're running late. Okay, Mary Landesman. Am I saying your last name correctly, Mary?
You are.
Okay, so we'll be right back with Mary. If you have a question, go to the website. You got about 2.5 minutes worth of commercials. Call in. Oh, mine just said, "Oh, snap!" It just crashed. So it's this computer. I think if I go to the other computer, it'll be a lot quicker. Go to the website map.norsecorp.com and then ask questions because I don't really know what to ask. Map, NORSECORP. We'll take a little break and be right back.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Ooh, ouch. Does pain have you glued to the couch? Yes, unfortunately it's true that every year we must get older, but that doesn't mean we have to deal with pain in our back, knees, or shoulder. If your muscles and joints are sore, don't worry anymore. Come get acupuncture from me and you'll be pain-free. Acupuncture starts as low as $35 at a Better You Health. Call me, Dr. Erica Olstein, at 615-5566. Stop your pain from driving you insane.
Robin, let's try a little plant trivia. Name this nursery. It's a not-for-profit, and it teaches growing and caring for plants to their students.
Oh, that's easy. Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? It's a nursery conveniently located between Ocala and Bellevue.
Again, it's Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? A nursery with a wide variety of just what you need or want at the most reasonable prices.
Kenny's Place, of course.
Kenny's Place at 7677 Southeast 41st Court. Give them a call at 867-1213. It's a caring place for people and plants. It's Kenny's Place. All right, 11:22, and this is a cool map.
It is.
I'm trying to figure out how we use this. So let me jump over the questions I don't know and just ask how we use this. Mary Landesman is our guest. She's the senior data scientist from the Norse Corporation. If you go to the map and you have a question for Mary, I promise I'll push the button and let you speak directly to Mary, because if you call later on and ask me, I'm not going to know the answer. But Mary, what do we use this? How do I use this information? What do I do with this? And it looks like it's all coming from Beijing, by the way. All these attacks.
This is. On the one hand, I guess it's kind of cool because it's showing the effects of a denial of service attack as it happens. On the other side of the equation is it's kind of. I wish it weren't happening. I wish you could see the normal attack traffic because it is so dominated by this one denial of service attack. But it's the map is usually much more dynamic than you're seeing now. But so companies that use our intelligence services actually have custom maps that are specific to their organizations.
Oh, I see. So as a company, if I was like the president of a bank, I would get your service, and then with that service, I could. This might be something my son is into, because my son he does some kind of a computer security for a company, an energy company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for high value targets, financials, energy sector, things like that, many of them have what are called SOCs, Security Operations Centers, and so the map and then the data behind it, of course, being specific to their organization, coupled with even the global map, which is what we're looking at now, that anybody can consume, can help them determine whether or not there's something actionable happening on their network that needs to be responded to.
I like your breakdown. You have source of attacks by volume and by population, target of attacks by volume and population, and the United States ranks up there. In the source of attacks by volume, you've got them as number 2, and the target of attacks, they're number 1 by volume, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6 by population.
This is interesting
Right.
stuff. Let me go to the phone because I think our listeners are smarter than us on this topic. Well, on most topics. Thank you for calling. Good morning. You're on the air with Mary Landesman.
Good morning, Larry and Robin. And that last statement's probably not true. Those two people on the radio are very sharp, very good-hearted people. Mary, I was going to ask a question. It seems to me if you look at a lot of our government agencies really have much of themselves privatized. So a corporation, if I'm not correct, Mary, like your own here, or the one you're speaking on the behalf of, offer their services to protect not only our government agencies, so to speak, but also the privatized aspects of them. Is that not correct, Mary?
Yes, that is correct.
And so I also would ask and I'm not criticizing Larry's observation. I think he's on the right track with banks and power companies. But along those lines, listeners also have to understand, and two rights don't make a wrong, that the Americans also do things aggressively themselves for what is offensive attacks. So we can shut down aspects of a power plant and leave no fingerprints, and they'll send out some mechanics to go take a look at some aspect on the turbine, and there was no humans in there doing it. It's a computer thing. So it's important. What Mary's service does is it protects our infrastructure, which is now all interconnected.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
Power. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. You got to check. Did you look at the website?
I did, Larry. I looked at it, and there's a lot of things, and actually some of the stuff that you're looking at overseas could also be our help in helping those countries do two things to protect themselves by being offensive. I'm not saying we're the total boogeyman, and yes, we are the victims of some things, but we also have some domestic attacks done domestically on our economy. Like
I just saw Miami Tech Buffalo. I saw a line went from.
I think they do play next week again. No, that's the Patriots. But anyway, but there are a lot of commercial things hanging in the balance and tactical things, and I guess this is the 22nd century, and we should thank goodness that and even I would say I don't know. I won't ask her if she's able to say, but Mary's business. Probably has a lot of government affiliated contracts, and thank goodness. People want to criticize the government, but who do we turn to when we need help? And immediately, it's the sheriff or the U.S. Army or
there
something.
You go.
So I'm a fan of government myself. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Thank you. All right. Well, I think you probably said what a lot of people were wondering. You're protecting both private organizations as well as government agencies.
This is cool.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think that's true of most major security providers, right? There's not really a.
Is there a way, Mary, that I can show this map to somebody else and say, "Here's how you understand it"?
Yeah. So one of the things that the December report intended to do is to sort of show what the data give the map a voice, if you will. What does the data behind that map actually show us? And that's where we did things like adjusting for the population sizes and trying to hone in on who is
fascinating.
All of this data gets captured and analyzed, and then we try to. Now, of course, I mean, we're giving the very high level, who's attacking who, and what's being attacked and perhaps how. We're not really trying to go into, at least for the purposes of this report. Now, that's separate and apart from what our analysts do, but the report itself is not intended to answer the question.
Mary, thank you for the fascinating interview. This is why space aliens will not come to Earth. They'll say they are too vicious. Those people they're attacking everything. Mary, thank you. The website is where you'll find everything. map.norsecore.com. You got to check this out on a nice smooth running computer, not like this one. Mary, thank you so much. That was fascinating stuff.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Robin. Take care.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. In Texas near Dallas, at least 11 are killed by tornadoes over the weekend. Hundreds of homes and structures destroyed. In the hard-hit city of Garland, an apartment complex lies in ruins.
The tornado just ripped the walls down. The walls are stripped of anything. Debris is everywhere. Car windows are smashed out.
Lori Brown of Fox affiliate KDFW. In North Texas, there were blizzard-like conditions last night, making driving a nightmare right into this morning. A major victory in Iraq over ISIS.
Iraqi military leaders that the strategic city of Ramadi has been liberated. While there are still pockets of ISIS militants putting up some resistance in the city, Iraqi troops recaptured the central government compound today. The main objective.
Fox's John Huddy. Harlem Globetrotters fans the world over mourning the death of Meadowlark Lemon, the clown prince of basketball, played for them from the 50s through the 70s. He was 83. Fox News. We report, you decide.
I smoked a lot and quit a lot, but got nowhere. It's hard. Then my daughter was born. Now I have the best reason why to quit in the world. I just need the right how. I want this time to be my last time. That's why I choose Nicoderm CQ.
The Nicoderm CQ patch has unique extended release technology that helps prevent your urge to smoke all day. Tweet hashtag what's your why at Nicoderm CQ for a chance to win valuable prizes. Use as directed. Behavioral support increases chances of success.
I had fantastic results with the Andro 400 Max. Probably lost 35 pounds, and more impressive than that was the inches I lost off of my belly and my waist. And the increased energy is fantastic.
Andro 400 Max, the best all-natural testosterone booster. Gain energy, lose belly fat. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. The last 10 days of the year are the busiest 10 days of the year at the Orlando International Airport. Hundreds of thousands of passengers have already passed through Florida's 3 major airports, and more are expected to head to the airport throughout the New Year's holiday. An estimated 137,000 people traveled through Orlando International Airport on Saturday, according to the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, making it the busiest day of the year so far. Yesterday was the second busiest day with an estimated 135,000 people. The numbers will continue to be strong throughout this coming weekend. By the time the holiday week is done, Orlando International will be the 4th busiest airport in the United States, just behind Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Chicago. Total traffic at Orlando International is expected to be up 10% compared to last year. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is picking up a key endorsement in his presidential campaign. Sources say South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy will give Rubio his backing. Gowdy is the influential Republican who is best known for leading the House investigation into the 2012 Benghazi terror attacks. He is expected to attend multiple Rubio campaign events in Iowa tomorrow and Wednesday. A Florida congressman is the latest victim of a hoverboard accident. South Florida Republican Carlos Curbelo suffered an arm injury and wound up in an emergency room on Christmas Day. The 35-year-old Curbelo was using a hoverboard, the popular holiday gift that has been responsible for dozens of injuries and fires across the country. Curbelo tweeted a photo of himself in a sling and said, quote, "Confirmed, #hoverboard is for kids," unquote. A plane about to depart from New York's LaGuardia Airport headed to Fort Lauderdale was evacuated Saturday morning prior to takeoff, scheduled for 10:59 a.m. Eastern Time. Some of the 228 passengers on board saw smoke coming from the left side of the Airbus 321. According to a statement from Spirit Airlines, Flight 197 was evacuated following reports of sparks in the auxiliary power unit, the APU, a generator which provides electricity to the plane when it's on the ground, automatically detects suspected the issue and immediately turned itself off. By the time firefighters arrived, the smoke had already dissipated. Spirit Airlines apologized to passengers and offered to rebook anyone who might want to take another flight. The unreasonable temperatures that came with Christmas week appear to be staying put. That's the word from meteorologists who say Florida's unseasonably warm December could continue into the first day or two of the new year. The culprit is a summer-like weather pattern parked off the east coast of the state. Weather officials say the Bermuda High has set up and it appears to have dug itself in. Forecasters say things could stay this way for the near term unless an unexpected dip in the jet stream is strong enough to dislodge the high-pressure area. That question remains one of the bigger ones for the weather outlook this week, and there is no guarantee that the jet stream will be able to nudge the high-pressure zone far enough away to let cooler weather in. For the long term, the El Niño weather phenomenon is active, and its prime currents are beginning a southerly drift. And as we approach New Year's Eve, please help spread the word to those who might be tempted to drive after drinking alcohol that the Tow to Go program saves lives both in the car of the drinking driver and any innocent victims along the way. Those who wind up needing the service can be at ease knowing it offers a confidential local ride within a 10-mile radius to a safe location. Should you or someone you know need the service, you can access it toll-free by calling 1-855, the number 2, and then Tow to Go. That's 2 TOW. Again, the number 2 GO. And those are the headlines from the source, WOCA 96.3 FM, 1370 AM.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, Monday, sunshine mixing with clouds, quite warm and humid, high 82 to 86. Partly cloudy and warm Monday night, lows 68 to 72. Tuesday will be partly sunny, warm and humid, high 83 to 87. And Wednesday, clouds and some sunshine and quite warm, high 82 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Your weekends are getting a little retool.
Swear to God, not making a joke.
Check this out.
New shows? Check. Some new talent? Check. Let's welcome the guys.
Let's get it going.
Arnie Spanier.
Unbelievable.
TJ Reeves.
This is what you get.
Your weekends are on fire. Because that's how exotic it is.
Robin, let's try a little plant trivia. Name this nursery. It's a not-for-profit, and it teaches growing and caring for plants to their students.
Oh, that's easy. Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? It's a nursery conveniently located between Ocala and Bellevue.
Again, it's Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? A nursery with a wide variety of just what you need or want at the most reasonable prices.
Kenny's Place, of course.
Kenny's Place at 7677 Southeast 41st Court. Give them a call at 867-1213. It's a caring place for people and plants. It's Kenny's Place.
Today in Florida Ag News on Southeast AgNet, we take a look at the population of rural America. USDA's Rod Bain has that story next.
Among the areas covered by USDA's annual Rural America at a Glance series of studies is population, poverty levels, and education in rural locales. And for the 2015 report recently released, when it comes to rural populations,
the trend over the last 4 years has been a decline of about 30,000 a year. Over the 4 years, that's an overall decline of about 0.25%.
Not really a significant change, according to USDA economic researcher Lauren Kusman. And as for the study's findings on rural poverty levels, after years of increase, after the recession of 2009,
we are seeing a slight drop in the rural poverty rate.
With that year-over-year turnaround applied to both the overall poverty rate and child poverty rate in rural America. Education-wise, more rural residents are obtaining high school diplomas and some college education. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Hi, I'm Adam Putnam, Florida's Commissioner of Agriculture.
From Pensacola to Key West, Florida's farmers, ranchers, fishermen, clammers, and oystermen produce and harvest a wide variety of fresh, wholesome products. Take advantage of all that Florida has to offer by learning about Florida's harvest seasons. You can find fresh, locally grown products at affordable prices nearly any time of year. Visit freshfromflorida.com to find out what is available when and browse thousands of recipes featuring Fresh from Florida products.
Whether at your local green market, corner grocery store, or neighborhood restaurant, you're supporting your community when you buy local.
Food grown right here by Florida farmers doesn't need to be shipped as far.
That saves fuel and cuts emissions.
Buying local is more than just supporting area businesses and growers.
It's buying fresh, wholesome, and delicious food for your family.
Products you trust from people you trust.
Fresh from Florida.
Good for the environment.
Good for the economy.
Good for you.
I'm Josh McGill for Southeast AgNet.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.